What's up, I'm Ola, and this is the Boss Tube Amp Expander. The extremely nerdy people at Boss, I know they're nerdy, by the way, because I've met him like 1 year ago. They have developed this beast of a unit. Now, what is it? It's like a tube amp's best friend, sorta. Some sort of a center to expand your tube amp to become a more controllable unit. It's a variable reactive load box with built-in impulse responses. It has an IR loader, recording interface with a bunch of different ways to connect to whatever setup you need it for. If you need it for stage, for recording your amp at home silently, and so on. It has a built-in 100 watt amplifier, so for say if you have a low wattage amp that you love, but you cannot just get it to break through when you're rehearsing or when you're playing live, you can find a sweet spot on your amplifier and then boost it with the Tube Amp Expander. Or vice versa, if you have an incredibly loud amplifier, you can set the sweet spot on the amplifier and then turn down the volume for silent home playing. All this can either be controlled on the unit itself or by using the USB interface. It also has an amp control, so you can let the Tube Amp Expander change the channel of your amplifier. You have MIDI in and MIDI out and a bunch of different line out options and so on. Another cool thing is that it has stereo effects. It has delay, reverb, compressor, so even though your amp doesn't have an effects loop, the Tube Amp Expander gives you a programmable one. Isn't that awesome, beautiful Twitchers? That's awesome. I'm live streaming this right now, by the way. And if you have more stuff that you want to add, there's an additional input loop to put more of your pedals if you want to. This unit is made to do so many things, but it all comes down to the importance of the tone or the guitar tone. And even though the amplifier is the main guy when it comes to your tone, the cabinet is also affecting how your amplifier behaves in the power section. And this behavior, or back and forth communicating between the amp and the cab, is something that Boss has been working on a lot, and the result is the reactive load box in this thing. There's a bunch of magic stuff happening, and just so much stuff happening, I'm just too dumb for it. But there's a bunch of videos out there you can check out, you can learn about all this stuff. I'm here to just try it out and hear how it sounds. Today, I'm using my beloved Mesa Boogie Tremoverb, an awesome amplifier that I love so much. It has an effects loop that is a little shitty, to be honest. This is an incredible amplifier, and the more you crank it on the master volume, the better it sounds. I've connected this amplifier through the Tube Amp Expander and then to both this cabinet and into my audio interface to my computer, so I can record both. Okay, let's do this. So the master volume is set to loudest balls right now on my amplifier, and right now this speaker out knob here is at 0, like this. So all you can hear is through the interface right here, but as I turn it up, so this sound that you're hearing is basically the Tremoverb being cranked out loud, but at a more reasonable level thanks to the Tube Amp Expander. And to add, this speaker out is a linear knob, so it's a little bit more useful for getting the volume just right, rather than the master amp volume on the amplifier. And then you also have these two resonance and presence knobs, which is for the reactive load. So depending on what amplifier you're using, you set these to the corresponding settings. I mean, you can play around with them if you want, but for a rectifier amplifier, they're supposed to be set to low on both the resonance and the presence. And there's a guide up here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's basically a guide where you can watch, and yeah, you can watch it. Okay, let me play for a little bit. Okay, it needs to be cranked. If you didn't know already, I'm using an Ibanez Tube Screamer and a Fortin Suhl into this thing, the amplifier. That's why it sounds so badass. All right, so this little rig knob, ding dong. So this rig knob is where you can store and recall rigs quickly on the fly. I have them set for a couple of different IRs that's built into this thing. There are 22 cabinets and 5 selectable microphone types. Those are available if you edit the What's the Tube Expander in the editor. So let's just start on number 1. Okay, so this rig knob, ding dong, is actually more about the IRs more than anything. So I'm just gonna turn this down. And with this turned down, I can hear the speaker simulation that's happening here in my audio interface. So. I think this is a rectifier cabinet, not too sure, but okay, let's switch to number 2. There you go. On the last one here, I set it so it's not using an IR, so you're basically just getting the amplifier raw tone into the audio interface. So I'm going to be able to put on my own impulse response on this, but you can also load in your impulse response directly to this thing. So that sounds like this. Okay, let's turn the volume back up on the cabinet. Oh, there's effects on now. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So up here, you have a couple buttons to engage the different functions of the rig that you're using. So you have an effects loop, so you can turn on and off the effects loop that you have at the back. You have effects, which are the DSP effects that are assigned in the editor. So I think it's delay, basically. Yeah, and you also have reverb here. You can turn down the reverb. Just have the delay. So that's cool. You can turn on and off the effects there. Then there's the solo section. It's like a EQ and boost in that sense. So if you want to kind of like kick in into a lead sound. So these functions are all assignable either to MIDI or foot switches and whatnot. So you can basically control all of this. Since it's MIDI, you know, you can control all of that, you know, the amp selection and channel selection through MIDI, because this thing has an amp control as well. So if you have, I didn't connect it now because I'm an asshole. If, for instance, there's a switch output on the Tremoverb that you can control using the Tube Amp Expander, so you can actually change the channel of the amplifier by just clicking this button right here. So there you go. You also have a reverb dial, just a quick reverb kind of feel. Did I just play Dream Theater? I think so. Ding dong! Then you have a line out and a phones knob as well right here. And as you can see here on the amplifier, the master volume is set to like 10 or 11 o'clock, which on the rectifiers are it's really loud. It's really, really loud. So this is basically me cranking the amplifier, you know, to where it's like super loud if you would just connect it directly to the cabinet. But now I can use that super cranked sound, but at a reasonable level. So that's pretty cool. So with the rectifier, for instance, when you start cranking the master volume, some of that fizziness disappears that you're getting on lower volumes, and you know, it really comes through and pushes real hard. So that's a really winning point about this, because now I can play that sound, but on a lower volume, which is cool. Pretty cool, huh? I think the coolest thing about this is that I can actually crank the amplifier to where I think it really shines, where it starts compressing, and you know, you get rid of that fizz. And then I can just dial down the speaker out and play that cranked sound on a lower volume. Okay, let me... So there you go. If you already have a tube amplifier and want to expand your possibilities, I think the tube amp expander is absolutely excellent. I tried it a year ago and I was surely impressed by them, but at that time they didn't have any high gain amplifier, so I was a little bit skeptical. But now, after trying it for a couple of days at my home, you know, I'm pretty certain that this will become a pretty important piece in my studio. We'll just see. Time have to tell. So if you like this video, please subscribe and put a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my Twitch as well. You're right over there. What's up, Twitch? Also, if you like this video, peace. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up. Thumbing up gets my video more viral traction, so I've heard. So it would most definitely help. Thank you so much.